This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. For too long, women's serious midlife health issues have been trivialized, ignored, and met with a just deal with it attitude. Many of us have been made to feel ashamed or forgotten. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But here's the powerful truth. It's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI is not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic, founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. What sets MIDI apart? We are the only women's telehealth brand covered by major insurance companies, making high-quality expert care accessible and affordable. Our clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. We offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions, from hormonal therapies and weight loss protocols to lifestyle coaching and preventative health guidance. This isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will join our patients who feel seen, heard, and prioritized. You will find that our mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the health care they deserve. Because we believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
Magnetic leadership doesn't come from techniques. It comes from who you are being while you lead. The field you generate when confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution all point inward to a singular point in the horizon where all of them reinforce each other. You walk into a room and you create gravity. Your inner regulation, your coherence, becomes the outer regulation of the room. They sync with you. And that's the leadership container.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govind Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govind Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode number 340, and another in the Edge of the Napkin series. Today, I'm going to do part 6 of my Magnetic Growth Aura Framework series. So this is 6 episodes, with this being the finale. I started talking about the Magnetic Growth Aura, and then after that, discussed confidence, the first pillar, the second pillar, which is called congruence, the third pillar, which is called calm, and the fourth pillar, which is called contribution. And I discuss how each of those pillars, when focused on, when put together in combination with the other pillars, create your own personal magnetic growth aura. That's something that, people can feel, people can see, people actually notice before you walk into the room. Or if they're going to join a room where you are, they could feel it before they leave their house. And that's how absolutely impactful it can be. I have seen this at work. I have experienced it myself, and it is the greatest thing on the planet as a leader to experience. But what's really interesting about this framework is how we build our each of our pillars and create that leadership container is experienced slightly differently by our teams. So when our teams experience it, they experience not necessarily the confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution. They feel the aura in a different way. Your clients actually may feel your aura in a different way, and so could your community. So as we go through these episodes, from 330, 332, 334, 336, and 338, every second episode, we've been walking through what's deeper than the tactics of it all. We've been exploring these 4 inner pillars that shape how we lead, how we show up, and how we're felt in every room that we participate in. And that's virtual or otherwise. today we're going to bring it all together because here's what most people absolutely miss when it comes to this stuff. It isn't built from strategies. It isn't built from scripts. And it really isn't built from scale. It's built from who you are being while you lead. It's not what you've been doing. It's what you've been being. It's a presence. So you've probably felt that before. There are certain leaders who don't have to demand your authority or demand authority at all. They don't have to command you. They don't dominate conversations. In fact, sometimes they do the opposite. They don't even have to prove anything, but they're just so present. When they're entering a room, something powerfully shifts. People breathe differently. Sometimes they sit up straighter, not because they're afraid, but because they want to pay attention. Something good is about to happen. They lean in. They feel safe. And that feeling, it's not charisma in the way that we think about it. It's magnetism. And as we walk through this final episode in the Magnetic Growth Aura series, we're going to connect the dots for you. So we're going to explore how confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution create the leadership framework that I call the magnetic leadership framework. A leadership container so strong, so steady, and so coherent that your teams, your family, your spouses, and even strangers can feel it before you even say a word. And here's a twist. When you build this container, your focus itself changes. You stop chasing scale for ego. You stop growing for exits, and instead, you grow for impact. You stop multiplying numbers for an applause. Growth for your team, growth for your clients, growth for your community, and growth for yourself feel natural on the other side of this. Because when you expand your container, you expand your capacity to lead. And when your team feels that, performance changes, culture changes, and value changes. In this episode, I'm going to share a powerful story about a mentor who transformed a struggling 10,000 employee company, not through force, but through his presence. And I'll share a couple other stories that illustrate how magnetism multiplies differently than control. And we'll talk and walk through the activation framework, Focus, Align, Act, that brings the entire model to life, day to day, every day. So wherever you're listening, take a breath and consider this question. What kind of field are you generating when you walk into a room? Let's dive in. There's something absolutely fascinating about leadership, and we've been taught that leadership is about strategy or other things, about systems, about scale, about revenue, about multiplying top and bottom line numbers together. And that sounds amazing and fascinating. We've been trained to measure success in spreadsheets, but here's what most people miss. Leadership is not a first strategy problem. It's an interstate problem. And when your interstate shifts, everything around you shifts. And that's what this episode is about. It's about the magnetic growth aura, the 4 pillars, confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution, and how when activated through Focus, Align, Act, they form what I call the magnetic leadership framework. And when that framework is embodied and contained within the leader, not studied, not memorized, not laminated and framed and put on a wall, but embodied, you create a leadership container that people can feel. Your team can feel it. Your spouse can feel it. Your children can feel it. And outright strangers walking by you on the street can feel it. People feel it before they enter a room you are in. And I'm going to even say if they're traveling to visit you, they'll feel it from before they even leave their home to come and join you. People feel it the moment you enter their field of view, either mentally or physically. And when they feel it, something changes. Not because you demanded it, not because you forced it, not because you scaled harder or louder than everybody else, not because you punished yourself with discipline, but because your presence created safety. And this safety is the birthplace of performance. So let's begin there. Magnetic leadership doesn't come from techniques. It comes from who you are being while you lead. And at the center of the model is magnetic leadership, the field you generate when confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution all point inward to a singular point in the horizon where all of them reinforce each other. Notice the word field. It's the field you generate. It's a field. You walk into a room and you create gravity. You create temperature. You create tone. Your inner regulation, your coherence, becomes the outer regulation of the room. They sync with you. And that's the leadership container. The container is what allows others to grow on their own. Have you ever been around someone who is just deeply confident? Not loud, not arrogant, not posturing, but just steady. You felt it, right? You've been around someone whose words and actions match under pressure. You felt it. If you've been around someone who's calm in the middle of a storm, in the middle of chaos, you felt it. If you've been around someone whose intent is bigger than their ego and their need to be the star or the center, you felt it. And that feeling is magnetism, not charisma, it's coherence. And coherence grows differently. It creates a different kind of growth and impact. So let's walk through the 4 pillars a little bit again in the way that your team experiences them. So you build confidence, you build congruence, you build calm, and you build contribution. Those are your pillars, but your team experiences that differently when they are in balance. Support is rooted in calm. Accountability is rooted in congruence, and feedback is rooted in confidence. Encouragement is rooted in contribution. When those expressions are disconnected from their source pillar, leadership feels heavy, awkward, lopsided. It leaks. But when aligned, that leadership becomes magnetic. And that sentence alone is a leadership PhD. So let's unpack it. Confidence, pillar 1. It's the root of feedback. Confidence answers the question, do I believe in me enough to tell the truth early? It isn't bravado. It isn't domination. It isn't volume. It's steadiness. Confident leaders give clean, kind, right-timed feedback. They de-risk praise so it's not performative. It doesn't sound like fake applause or fake anything. They ask powerful questions early. People like to call these challenging questions or hard questions, but they're powerful questions because they're rooted in truth. They correct without emotional charge. It's not personal. It's supportive. So confidence tells the truth early, so corrections happen naturally. And when confidence is missing, leaders delay, they avoid. They build resentment and they explode later because the emotion becomes too much to carry. And teams feel it. They feel the hesitation. They feel the withheld truth. They feel the unpredictability. But when confidence is present, feedback feels like oxygen. It increases capacity and expands people. Not because it's harsh. No, because it's clean. Confidence says, I respect you enough to tell you the truth now. And that creates trust. So pillar 2, congruence, is the root of accountability. And it's not, I'm going to hold you accountable and beat you with this stick. Congruence answers, do my words match my actions, especially when under pressure, especially when things aren't working out? Congruence shows up as transparency before accountability, modeling what you expect, not being the loose cannon, late to meetings, absent-minded, on your phone when you're asking everybody else, no screens between conversations. No, it's the opposite. Volunteered accountability instead of enforced compliance. So would you volunteer to be accountable as opposed to enforcing everybody else's compliance to your rules? People follow consistency, not control, and just let that sit for a second. People follow consistency, not control. When leaders demand accountability without modeling it, well, the team complies, but they don't commit. They don't give their heart to it. When leaders model accountability and transparency, the team mirrors that too. And it becomes this powerful catalyst. Congruence creates the psychological safety that's necessary, and it's through vulnerable honesty. Being open. Congruence is when your internal compass doesn't wobble or leak when it's under pressure. When revenue drops, when investors question, when clients are upset, when competitors attack, when family stress rises, when health becomes a challenge. Do you stay aligned with your principles? If so, that's part of magnetism. Pillar 3 is calm, and that's the root of support. Calm answers, can I hold space without rushing to fix this for you? Can I do this with you instead? Calm shows up as support from regulation, not obligation. The ability to pause, asking for help before depletion, remembering to put your mask, get your oxygen on first so that you can support everyone else. Support flows from self-regulation, and this is leadership containment. Containment is not suppression. The ability to hold intensity without transmitting it or projecting it or barfing it up all over everybody. When leaders lack calm, they leak anxiety onto their teams and onto everyone around them. They rush, they fix, they interrupt, they rescue, they overperform, and teams shrink. But when leaders are calm, the team expands. Because someone is holding the space, holding the container open for them to grow and meet the challenge. Calm is the difference between panic and presence. Pillar 4 is the root of encouragement. Contribution answers the question, am I here for more than outcomes? Contribution shows up as encouragement when things don't work, consistency across seasons, across phases and stages of life, messages that don't disappear under pressure or don't wobble when things get hard, seeing effort as humanity, not just results. Encouragement sustains the human. Contribution is what shifts leadership from ego to impact. And contribution is the fuel. It's the difference between, hey, did we hit that number? And hey, did we grow the people to de-risk it forever? Think about that. Contribution asks, did we leave people stronger after our interaction with them? Every single time. So here's the shift from scale to growth for impact. And this is where the thing gets real interesting to me. When your leadership container strengthens and opens and gets bigger, your focus changes. It changes from scale for ego's sake or scale for exit or scale for valuation to growth for impact. Growth for your team, growth for your clients, growth for your community, and growth for yourself. And when you grow yourself and your container, you can lead more. You can be more because you are more. And your team feels your leadership more strongly from further away. And not because you're louder, it's because you're deeper. You're deeper in yourself. You're more rooted. And this is where a great story comes in of one of my greatest mentors. He took over a company that was struggling. Competition was eating away at margins. Clients were leaving. Employee retention was really suffering, and culture was fragmented. They had branch offices all over the place, 10,000 employees, and most leaders would have started with restructuring, with layoffs, with cost optimization, and aggressive growth or scale tactics. He did something different. His first job was he got on a plane and he began visiting every single office, intent on meeting every single team member in person, face to face, eye to eye, belly to belly. He's a man of powerful intent, intense clarity, man of action. His pillars are so deeply aligned, and his magnetic growth aura is powerful. Imagine coming into presence with someone like that, eye to eye, face to face, belly to belly. He didn't give speeches, he asked questions. He shook hands and he listened. He made contact and connected with every single person. He remembered names. He asked about families. He asked about obstacles. He had powerful conversations about ideas. He wasn't collecting data, though. He wasn't checking a box. He didn't have somebody following along with a notebook trying to make him feel or look good. He was building a container. After meeting all 10,000 team members, he instituted a monthly Ask Me Anything call. Him, the senior leadership team, stayed on the line as long as needed, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours. Nothing filtered, nothing pre-screened, nothing sanitized, nothing sterile. Ask me anything. And the team listened and answered. Over time, something powerful happened. The calls grew warmer and questions became more honest. Concerns became way more constructive and ideas flowed upward. The culture shifted. Think of how high ROI is. I mean, you think about a 5-hour call once a month and you think, oh my gosh, I can't do that. But think about creating that container that can hold 10,000 people, and all it takes is 5 hours once a month. Amazing. People felt supported. Not because someone screamed, do this, show up, you have to do this. Not because KPIs were weaponized against them, but because their leaders modeled accountability to their team. They showed up accountable. Feedback flowed. Encouragement flowed. Support flowed. Retention problems obviously improved. Customers returned. And the community impact increased exponentially. The company tripled in value. Was it magic? No, it was magnetic, and it was the impact of the magnetic leadership framework. So, in a village, a long, long time ago, there were two blacksmiths, and they worked side by side. Both were skilled, both had strong tools, both had customers. But over time, something strange happened. One shop grew really crowded, like overflowing. There was a lineup outside. Apprentices begged to work there. Farmers waited for their tools to be done, and travelers brought gifts to the blacksmith. The other shop became increasingly quiet. The second blacksmith sort of grew resentful. He wondered, our skill is equal. Why does he get more people? Why is more people going over there? So one evening, he stayed late and watched the other blacksmith. And what he saw surprised him. The first blacksmith didn't just forge metal, he listened. When a farmer spoke of a broken plow, he asked about the soil. When an apprentice struggled, he showed patience and calm. When a traveler shared news, he leaned in and asked questions about their journey and the weight they were carrying. His hammer strikes were steady, and his voice was calm, and his praise was specific. His corrections clean, and his shop felt safe to anyone who would enter. People didn't just come for the tools, They didn't come for the blacksmith. They came for the container that he created around himself because the magnet was turned on. The second blacksmith realized it wasn't the iron, it was the aura. And when he began to align his confidence, his congruence, his calm, and his contribution, his shop grew too, and not at the expense of the first shop. Because magnetism multiplies differently. It's integrated. Everybody can win. So I want to share with you the activation framework. In a Paper Napkin Wisdom episode with Alex Sharfin, I talked about how many years ago when I talked about Focus, Align, Act, I thought I had it. I thought I had this brilliant framework that I could share with everybody and everybody would get it. But it was just a little leaky. Now I understand that focus isn't just about vision. It's about focusing on what you really want. As if it's already happening, putting yourself in a 3D movie that you can see, feel, hear, and taste, that you're right inside of, looking at it with your own eyes, playing it out, seeing it all happen around you. So you're in that movie, and that's your focus. Aligning is taking a step back into your body, in the present moment, and recognizing where you are right now. I'm here, I am now, I am in this moment. Giving yourself a clean lens to look at the terrain under your feet, and doing that present moment awareness requires you to be present in your body. Love yourself, recognize yourself, and then finally act. Action is 100% all in and releasing the outcome. Nothing you do today is going to guarantee success tomorrow. However, you can be all in on the action today and be present for what happens. Learn from it. Failure doesn't exist. It's only feedback. So focus in this construct asks, what kind of leader am I choosing to be? What kind of leader am I choosing to be, borrowed from that 3D vision of the future? What pillar matters most in this season? Alignment asks, where are you actually right now? This moment. Can you respect the present moment without judgment? And act asks, what's the next visible behavior that proves this all to be true? Can you release the outcome? Without focus, leadership drifts. Without alignment, leadership fractures because it's not present. And without action, leadership stalls. So when you focus on the kind of leader you choose to be and align with where you are honestly, loving yourself in the present moment, and act all in, releasing the attachment, you build trust. And action with presence creates trust. So let's make this visceral. When a leader walks into the room, with confidence, you feel steadiness. With congruence, you feel safety. With calm, you feel space. With contribution, you feel seen. Combine them, you feel drawn. And that's magnetism. And when you lead from magnetism, you no longer chase scale. Growth chases you. Because people want to work inside safe containers. Clients want to buy from stable leaders. And communities trust coherent organizations. I want to also add this, and let me leave you with this. The growth for impact model or growth is not anti-scale, it's pro-depth. It asks, are we growing our people? Are we growing our clients? Are we growing our communities? And are we growing ourselves? Because when we grow the container, scale becomes sustainable. And sustainable scale is growth. My mentor didn't triple the value by pushing numbers. He strengthened the field. He strengthened the aura. He strengthened the container. And everything inside it expanded. Everything inside it expanded from a position of safety. And here's what's really neat about the magnetic growth aura as it turns into a framework. I talked about how the aura is created around your 4 pillars: confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution. It's experienced as support, accountability, feedback, and encouragement. SAFE. That's the X factor. It's safe. And at the center is magnetic leadership. 4 arrows could be pointing right inward to it: confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution. And around that, all of the support, all of the accountability, all of the feedback, and all of the encouragement. And right underneath, you'd have focus, align, act. You don't build magnetic leadership by shouting. You build it by regulating. You don't build it by scaling ego. You build it by expanding your impact. And when your team feels it, everything changes. That's the work, that's the container, and that's magnetic leadership. Make it a great day.